Thank you for joining us on another edition of the program Perspectives on Capital FM 92.9. My name is Bukky Towuru, and it's a warm welcome to you. Perspectives is a weekly program that highlights trending issues across the country and gives standpoint, viewpoint, you may say opinion on such issues. Today's edition, my guest will be sharing perspectives on negative peer pressure and its effect on the youth. You have supposed to work with the youth. I don't know if you actually had an encounter with them or not. So I want us to have a tangible experience of what it is, whether there was any noticeable experience that you may want to share on peer pressure among the youth that you superintendent over during your time as the minister.
Quite enough. When I took over in November 2015 as the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, there are youth organizations, over 150, that are registered with the ministry. And you have the National Youth Council, which is an umbrella body for the grooming of young people. As at the time I came in, the youth leadership had been in an intractable crisis of leadership. There were multiple leaderships, and these multiple leaderships were as a result of the polarization of the youth organization, which was a platform to provide youth leadership as a result of political infiltration.
So was this negative or positive?
Negatively.
Negative. So how did it
It denied the use of assessing, opportunities, both nationally and globally. There are international organizations that contribute hugely, are interested in the youth development programs. The absence of a credible leadership created lack of confidence in these institutions, and they couldn't have put their money to help develop the youth agenda. So we lost the international front for quite a long time. Non-governmental organizations within the country that collaborate with the ministry and invest in youth development also lost confidence. Now, this vacuum created as a result of this infiltration really mounted insurmountable pressure on the young people. So each time you see them in the ministry, they are very aggressive. A small thing can just spark up very serious crisis. Sometimes they come to the ministry to fight themselves.
A reflection of the society.
Yes.
Okay. So let me hear from your perspective, Dalung. Can you also share if there were any experience in your course of working with the organization you work with?
Thank you very much. I think I want to relate with what the minister just said. Actually, the youth we see today are a reflection of our society. What they see, what goes on around them. There seems to be lack of order in the society, and that has affected the youth group. It's quite unfortunate what he just said, because just as he rightly noted, there were a lot of things that the youth would have benefited. But then, because we are not organized, there's no system in place. Where we get it wrong, I can't tell. But then I want to say that there's a leadership gap where the leaders, I think, missed it in terms of grooming the youth to be what they should. A lot of strikes in schools that affected young people. Universities being shut down for nine months. You can understand what's going on. Parents having to contend with little resources, in terms of taking care of the home front. You see the mother and the father against each other. You see a broken society where parents are known for looting, and they are always facing the law, and the children are there watching. Quite a number of things, quite a number of issues that have affected the home front, which affected again the young people.
So this happens to be the negative peer pressure, so to speak, that we have. From what I read, there are three types of pressure: spoken versus unspoken, the word explanatory, direct versus indirect peer pressure, and then we have the positive versus the negative peer pressure. All these forms of pressures do exist among the youth, but why do the negative peer pressure seems to be gaining the upper hand among the youth? Can we have your perspective on that, Madam Sally?
Well, it looks like bad seems to be to be what's taking the center stage, because how many people really are willing to learn under people who are wanting to teach you, give you positive the positive side to life. I do not know. I do know that there are institutions that are working hard in modeling young people towards a very good lifestyle. However, I think the negative peer pressure tends to take the better part of our lives. Therefore, I cannot explain. But again, based on what we've just heard from the minister, I think some of the issues bedeviling the country are responsible for such negative peer pressures. And we hope that our government will look at these things dispassionately and see how values can be restored in our school system and in what we do generally.
Barrister Dalung, you dealt with the youths, so I really want to take you back to that space as well. The negative peer pressure, why is it gaining an upper hand? Were there anything you observed at your time or during your time with the young ones?
You see, negative peer pressure naturally overwhelms the positive because, you see, it has a shorter way of getting goals. So it tends to now abridge a process. So a young man who abandons school and is able to be guided by a bad leader to peddle drugs, you see, he has short-circuited the process, the so many years of going through the school system to make money. So within a short span of time, he can afford to buy a G-Wagon. He will access Transcorp, and he's having iPhone 15. That, you see, is a negative peer pressure that has now reduced the value of hard work to nothing. So those who are his colleagues who are still going to school are unable to afford slippers. But this is somebody who has any non-academic credentials is living fine. The political class, my generation, is also very guilty. Now, we created this shortcut for the young people by availing them opportunities during election to be used for elections. So during elections, the young people can be accommodated in Transcorp if they are brought to Abuja. So you can imagine somebody picked from a village in Sabongida who might have not even traveled to the state headquarters is now taken direct from there and accommodated into Transcorp. So when he goes back, those who are studying law or medicine in the village, he will look down on them because their education has not helped them. So you can see how short-circuiting the process, that is the magic-oriented nature of the young people created by leadership, makes the negative peer pressure to be more pronounced. Secondly, every young child believes that his father is the role model. So you look up to your father. Now, parents, like he earlier mentioned, are involved in the destruction of the basic values of the society, getting themselves into things while in government or offices. So they project their children and create impression in their children that they want to secure their future. So the child has no need for school again. Because if when I was a minister and my ambition was to steal for my children, to steal for my grandchildren, and to steal for my great-grandchildren, I didn't want to go to school. They will go to school for what? Now, they are not better than those that are going to school. So the classmates of my children will look at my children and say, well, why are we wasting time here? When, these people that we are more brilliant than them can afford to make this in short time. What are we wasting time for? So this is the origin of the monster known as negative peer pressure created and sustained by the current leadership style. And the culprits are our generation. Why I made reference to our generation, I always feel very guilty. When this girl was standing here, I saw her, I felt very guilty. Because when I was like her, government did everything to me. When I was admitted into government college CSACEFA, I kept saying this. My parents bought only a towel and a box for me with the admission letter. When I got to government college CSACEFA, everything I needed was given to me, including spoon, broom, and hoe. I was given toiletries weekly. Till today, my daughter will be resuming school tomorrow. She was asking me for pen. I should buy bureau for her. And I was asking myself, why would she ask me? Because when I was growing up as a young person, I didn't know where the bookshop was. I only knew the library. When I finished writing in my pen, all I need to do is to raise it up. And my teacher will come with another pen and take it.
So government has a role to play in all of this.
Government is even not government is the major custodian.
Biggest culprit.